Hi, my name is Jung Lo. Behind here, this is my Kung Fu school where I teach this martial art. I started practicing martial art when I was 3 years old. I have over 25 years experience. At my school, I teach us many different styles also. I have experience boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thais, wrestlings, Mongolian wrestlings, and the Chinese style fight. I have a lot of street fighting experience also. And of course, I specialize teaching the Bak Mei, which means the right eyebrow system, and the Long Ying, which means the dragon system. Bak Mei, the style was created for street fighting. It was simple, effective move, simple punching, simple kicking, everything straight to the point. And now, you begin training the Bak Mei system.
Early in the Qing dynasty, 350 years ago, there were 4 famous mountain temples in China. Each temple was the center of culture, and people from all over each region gathered there to trade, to live, and especially to study Kung Fu. Hundreds of Kung Fu styles in each temple were practiced, but only one rose above the rest. In the temple on Eyebrow Mountain, a Taoist monk with long white eyebrows started teaching a fighting art which he designed after years of learning in Tibet and China. He was a philosopher and spent much of his life studying philosophy with the Tibetan Lama. His name has now long since been forgotten, and people now know him only as Bak Mei, White Eyebrow. After his death, his followers began teaching his system to many more people in Eyebrow. The style quickly became known for its effectiveness, and its ranks grew in size and skill. Every year, as each temple's Kung Fu population grew, they would hold a no-holds-barred tournament. For 14 years straight, students of Bak Mei's system beat everybody, leaving the bodies of students of weaker styles in their wake. But the tournaments were too brutal and were stopped. The students of Bak Mei soon left Eyebrow Mountain and went out on their own. Soon thereafter, the Chinese government, such as it was, began holding their own tournaments to recruit soldiers and commanders for their armies. The winners became generals and lieutenants and elite soldiers. Bak Mei's rogues began to win the tournaments and gain high-ranking positions in the military. Their reputation for being tough and merciless fighters spread throughout China, but their infamy would quickly become legend. Over the years, these mountain temples had grown quite populous, and the new people brought with them money, crime, and corruption. But the temples were not taxed by the government because they were centers for religious study. When they started to become large, untaxed cities of trained martial artists, the government got very nervous. They demanded their share and tried to bring these temple cities under control. When they met with resistance, they sent in their troops, who by now were mostly Bak Mei's students. Despite acting under the authority of the government, no one could forget that it was Bak Mei soldiers who were murdering, burning temples and schools, and destroying books and written records, which contained ages of Kung Fu history and teachings. The temples were brought back into line, but the Kung Fu circle was decimated, and many fighting styles were forever lost. After this war had been over a time and peace had been restored, a new emperor took the throne and gave orders to rebuild the mountain temples and let everyone back to study Kung Fu again. When that happened, Bak Mei was shunned. The other styles took their revenge in the harshest ways. If you were caught studying Bak Mei, you were often killed. It became an outcast style, and only outcasts practiced it, carefully and in secret. For 150 years it was like this. Many styles came back, many flourished, but Bok Mei, meticulously and secretly kept alive like a candle in a rainstorm, was nowhere to be openly found. Then, about 90 years ago, it surfaced again in China's Guangdong province. And while there are now schools in China, and many famous martial artists have studied it, there are still very few schools in the world that teach it. Bok Mei, of all the martial arts, is the only one that really teaches offense as defense. It is the most aggressive style, and also the most brutal, most effective, and has changed little since its keepers were the most feared in China. Students of Bok Mei have a different energy, a different attitude, and different skills than other styles. You will now begin your training in the underground Kung Fu, Bok Mei.
What I just done is the whole form of the sub-G, Bok Mei system, one of the most popular form everybody wants to learn, everybody wants to see. This form, the purpose you practicing forms, the main reason is you're learning how to get your body flexible, flexibility and coordinations, your hand, footwork, bodies, and also develop a certain type of movements on the system. And also you develop some kind of strength and cardio trainings. The rest of the time, I will show some of the applications from the sub-G form. And a lot of people say, from boxers or other style people, say, why Chinese martial arts always have a lot of forms? And it's correct. Your guess correct. A lot of people doing a lot of form doesn't mean they can fight. You do beautiful form doesn't mean you can protect yourself in self-defense. But practicing form may be the reason a lot of people do for body health, help with coordinations, and develop strength, and build up your minds, build up some confidence. But the main part of it, you practice the system. You want to become practical. You have to learn and you have to practice the partner work, the sparring part, the application part. And that's the most important once you learn any kind of form, any system you study. Now, also, every form, every system you learn, it's not going to be the whole form. Every move is, there's applications. There are certain moves, there's no applications. Certain move used for transitional times from one move to another move.